All right, let's talk about a story that's, well, it's pretty powerful. It's all about what happens when digital promises are made and then spectacularly broken. And it all comes from this really clever piece of commentary that uses a divine metaphor to unpack a massive failure in cloud security.
So the whole thing kicks off with this incredible line: "I have arrived to inspect the cloud." It really sets the stage for what the author calls a divine audit of a prayer app. It's such a creative way to frame a really, really serious technical problem. So, what was this app all about? Well, at its core, it made a huge promise. It told its users that it was a completely safe, totally private, and secure digital space for their most personal thoughts and prayers. You know, a digital sanctuary. And you can probably guess where this is going. That promise of a sanctuary? It was completely shattered. And not by some super sophisticated group of hackers either. Nope, it was a basic, and as the source puts it, a truly catastrophic security mistake.
I mean, just listen to how the source puts it. This wasn't some tiny oversight. It was like they didn't just leave the key to the vault under the doormat, they literally took the entire door right off its hinges and just walked away.
Okay, so let's get a little technical for a second. What exactly was this unlocked door? It all boils down to a really common piece of cloud technology called an Amazon S3 bucket. If you're not familiar, just think of it as a digital storage locker. It's where an app keeps all its stuff.
And here's the crazy part. The whole disaster, it came down to one single setting. On the left, you see how it should have been set to private, locked down. But on the right, you see the mistake. It was set to public. That's it. That one little word meant that anyone, anywhere on the internet could just waltz in and look at everything. So what does that one tiny mistake actually mean in the real world? Well, 10 million. That's the number of people whose private lives were just thrown open for the entire world to see. The scale is just, it's hard to even wrap your head around. You know, it's easy to see a number like that and just think of it as, abstract data. But it wasn't. This was about real people. And the real world human cost was just devastating. I mean, look at what was exposed. We're talking about the whole shebang. Names, home addresses, emails, photos, even donation records. And, of course, the private prayer requests themselves. That's everything someone would need to scam you, steal your identity, or worse. And this is where it gets really personal. The source gives this perfect example of how something so private got turned inside out. A quiet, charitable act. Something done in secret was suddenly just another line item in a spreadsheet, a CSV file for anyone to download and analyze. The sanctity of it was just gone.
But honestly, it gets even more sensitive than that. We're talking about the deepest, most personal information you can imagine. As the source so beautifully puts it, these were whispers meant for heaven, prayers about sickness, addiction, family struggles, and they were essentially broadcast to the entire internet.
So when you expose people like this, it's not just about embarrassment or a violation of privacy. It's about putting them in actual danger. It puts a giant target on the backs of some of the most vulnerable people imaginable. And the security experts who looked at this, well, they had a pretty chilling take on it. They basically said the app didn't just fail to protect its flock, it turned them into prey. And yeah, they mean PREY, just waiting for online predators. Okay, so after this whole divine audit, what's the final verdict? And more importantly, what's the lesson here for all of us? This line, wow, this is the final judgment on any company that holds our data. The metaphor is just brutal. A shepherd who leaves the gate open isn't a shepherd at all. He's just a waiter, serving his flock up to the wolves. If you don't protect the people who trust you, you're helping the people who want to harm them. So the takeaway is boiled down into two super clear commandments for anyone building, well, anything in the cloud. First, thou shalt not leave thy S3 buckets on public read. And second, thou shalt encrypt thy data. These aren't suggestions, they're the absolute basics.
And the whole thing ends with this haunting reminder, because I am watching, and apparently so is everyone else. It's a chilling thought, right? In the digital world, if you leave a door wide open, you're not just inviting auditors, you're inviting everyone, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that really just leaves all of us with one big question to ask ourselves. Whether we're the ones building these tools or just the ones using them every day, we have to ask,
Is that digital sanctuary we trust with our secrets, is it actually secure? Because this story shows just how easily and how devastatingly the answer might be no.